I'd like to address a really common misconception in sales. The misconception is that if you want to sell people something, you have to make it seem like there's all this complicated, fancy stuff that you know that they need access to, or that only you can provide that they have to pay you to get access to. The opposite is actually true, where if you actually just share all that information, you share all the ways that you can actually solve their problems, and you make it super simple, then people realize it's way more complicated than they thought, even though the way you're presenting it is as if it's just really easy and simple. This happens all the time with quizzes. And so I want to walk through what it looks like to do it right, where you're giving lots and lots of helpful information up front. And then people will self select and realize this is way harder than I thought. So even though this is all laid out and I can see exactly how it works, now I actually want to work with this person because they explained it to me in a way that clicked and that made sense. There's often these things that we see in our heads where it's like, oh, I know there's a way to solve this problem. I know there's a way to get what I want. This person is making it seem so easy and simple. And yet, when I think about it for myself, I'm like, I can't do it. So I need to work with this person. Let's run through this quiz from Kay Putnam. This is on her website. You take the quiz. She's psychology brand strategist, so obviously the psychology is on point here. It's a brand personality quiz. Discover your innate brand advantage and psychological triggers to attract more of your ideal clients. So the framing is really good there. The problem that this customer is experiencing is I want to attract more clients with my brand. I want my ideal clients to see my brand and be like, this is what I want. And so this quiz is helping you figure out what's the ideal brand personality for you that's going to help you accomplish that goal. And then we're going to see how she gives just a wealth of information at the end. Let's take the quiz. What's your brand's biggest strength? Curiosity, relating to others, imagination. Really good questions here. Which of these feels most in line? Best friend, athlete, yoga instructor, tour guide, stylist. So the questions are obviously building some rapport here where it's obvious that Kay understands different types of brands and the way that they show up. And this personality quiz is helping to understand what type of personality your brand has so that at the end, what she shows can be super relevant. So we'll go through this kind of fast because I'm mostly wanting to show you what happens in the results where she gives just this very in-depth breakdown. So at the end, put in my email. Let's drop that in. She also has a great email follow-up sequence, but we're going to see the results. So I'm the explorer, aka adventurer, pioneer, seeker. Now, what I'm showing here is how there's so much information in here that I've heard a million times from people. If they were to look at Kay's page here, they'd be like, why would I share all that? That's what I do when I'm coaching or when I'm selling my product. Why would I give that away for free? But it's like reverse psychology, where the fact that she's giving it all away for free and making it seem so simple makes me realize it's not that simple. And she's only able to make it seem simple because she's been doing this forever and she knows exactly what she's doing. Primary goal of the Explorer brand archetype: to experience a more fulfilling life, to find or create freedom, to discover the most authentic expression of an individual's desires, purpose, and or taste. So right off the bat, she's showing that she understands you and that she understands what this archetype is and how they operate. What is the Explorer brand archetype? And there's just a wealth of information here, and every single word on this page is thought out. It's placed in the right place where it makes sense to the reader, to the quiz taker. So they're getting all this information. You can see how long this goes on and on. Now there's an offer to join a masterclass, right? So I've seen, kind of about my outcome. There's an offer to join. Examples, strategy, brands, characters. There's so much here, and all this is very intentional and thought out. It's not just like, and there's a video even, like so much stuff here. All this is really thought through. And the point that I'm trying to make here is there's so much of this thought process of like, oh, well, I need to withhold in order to sell. And I'm not saying that you don't want to sell. You do want to sell. We all want to sell. But the way to sell is to explain exactly what it is that you do in very simple terms, because then people will realize, oh, it's actually not that simple because I can't think about it the way that I'm seeing it laid out on this page in a very clear and simple way, like Kay has here with all these descriptions. It's like, oh, well, yeah, obviously, this is how you live your brand. This is the voice. These are the people that are like that. This is all so simple and nicely laid out. It makes perfect sense. And then you might even sit down, right, as a customer, and you're like, oh, well, this is easy. I could do it myself. You spend an hour on it and you get nowhere near what's on this page. Then you come back, you realize the masterclass is not that expensive, and you enroll. And you're like, cool, this makes sense. So the way to sell is not to withhold information and tell people, oh, it's too complicated. The way to sell is actually to tell people exactly how it works and exactly the expertise that you have, and then say, I can help you with this, and give an offer for them to buy a course, buy a product, join a membership, or do coaching with you.